everybody. Welcome to another Monday. Welcome, everybody, to the Janelle Villiers podcast. That's me. My name is Janelle Villiers. I'm excited to be with you. I love helping people write their books. I truly believe that a book can change a person's life. And so anything that I can do to help people do that, that's where I am. That's where my love language exists. And so you'll get lots of tips on how to write a book, how to publish, all of that, while you come and join me on the Janelle Villiers podcast. But the other thing that I'm really passionate about is sharing other people's stories. Your story matters. It's going to help someone else in their life and their life's journey. And so what better way to make that plain than to have guests come on and share their journeys with us, share their experiences with us. So I'm really excited because today we have a fantastic guest. Many of you probably have seen all of the posters that I've been putting up in terms of our topic for today, which has now been scrolling along across the bottom. But our topic today is Boss Queen Lessons. So you guys are in for a treat because we are going to be hearing from a boss queen. That's right. Today we are going to be hearing from somebody who has done a lot in many different spaces, including being an amazing realtor who has been able to not only sell and help people buy property here in the States, but also internationally. She is a TV personality and a producer of TV shows, and dun, 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 dun. She is a speaker and an entrepreneur. And I mean, like, honestly, guys, someone who has been through the trenches, has come out the other side, and has a lot of lessons to teach us. And so I'm really excited to bring to the stage Tamara Davis.
Yeah.
There she is. Welcome to the show, Tamara. We are so excited to have you here with us today. And for those who are getting to know you for the first time, please, I'd love for you to share a little bit about how you even became an entrepreneur, why you decided to become someone who was interested in real estate and then actually make a business from it. I'd love to hear a little bit about that kind of like come up story.
Yeah, sure. Well, first, thank you for having me here. Very excited to be here with you, your audience, and excited to share my story, my journey. I became an entrepreneur in 2018. I was previously in the corporate environment. I worked at a company. It was a call center for 15 years, and it was quite a wonderful experience. Really great people. A lot of the people I worked with, I'm still really good friends with them, talk to them all the time on social media, text. So it not only gave me a wonderful professional background, but also personal. And so I spent 15 years marketing human resources. When I started with the company, there were 300 people. When I left the company, there were 75,000 people. And
wow.
Yeah, huge growth. But what it did for me is I got to work directly as well as the most senior level people. So I worked in the corporate office. I learned how to create a business, how to build it literally from scratch, to open calls, help to do the hiring and the and literally everything that you could think of, up to opening LLCs. So any aspect of a business that was needed, I got firsthand knowledge and was able to learn it there. So if I didn't leave there and become an entrepreneur, I could have been with my whole time. So fast forward to the company it's a call center. So I don't know if you're familiar with that business. You can grow tremendously, and then things can change. There's mergers, there's acquisitions, companies sold. And so I made, through 15 years, very successfully. The last, merger or acquisition, it so planned, and so they had to do some major cuts. I was in the marketing department, and they basically, had to let go most of the marketing department. With me, they were very generous, very kind, which I sincerely appreciate. They gave me a 3-month heads up, and then they also gave me a 6 months. So they said, be here, be available, help to transition everything over. And, so it made it really smooth and easy on both sides. At first, I did panic a little. I hadn't done anything with the resume in years. So I had to think about what I wanted. My first thought was, I was in a corporate, in a 9-to-5, like that's how I lived my life for most of my life. Thankfully, a gentleman that I was dating at the time, he built homes and construction, fix and flips. He just had, various aspects of real estate. And I always have. And so I would go with him to pick out the tile, help put these new properties together, help to get them ready to market and sell. And so, here at my house, it needed to have its mortgage paid, and it was a really big house. And I was like, I want to live downtown. I put the house up as a vacation rental, and not even to expect, all of a sudden it just took off. I went to the vacation rental business, opened my LLC, and never looked back. I love it. So that's where I first got my start, was in vacation rentals. That was 2018. 2020 is when I actually got my real estate license, although I had been doing real estate in years before that. I, personal invest. One of my real estate, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love real estate. I love showing people houses. I love, buying, selling, renting, commercial, not my thing, but I do still find it fun. I more so refer that out to my business partners. That's their specialty. And then the TV business I got into in 2022. I had the opportunity to go on what I thought was going to be aired on TV. That show did not ever air on TV. However, it gave me a thirst for that knowledge. I did go on to shows after that, and then went to my own space. So now I'm working on my own shows, and that's going exceptionally well too. I also, this year, opened a vacation rental. I opened a travel agency with my vacation management company. So essentially, they all go together. They're all the things I love. I feel very blessed to do the things I love. Actually work, because what's showing beautiful properties, what's hard about helping people have a vacation. Those are things I really truly enjoy, helping people. So there I am.
I love that. And just for anybody who's watching, whether you're watching live or the replay, please go ahead and put your questions, especially if you're watching live, in the comments. We see all of the questions. And so if you have a question for Tamara, please go ahead and put it in the comments. You can get an answer in real time. And I want to make sure that we allow for that to happen. So I love what you shared. I love that you shared that you actually had this background in the corporate world, and that they were so generous in almost like your mentorship and helping you understand, like in your education almost, of understanding a particular side of business. Did you find that, and especially because the business, that company grew so much as well. Did you find that there was a particular piece of insight or mentorship that you received that you feel like was essential for your growth and what you ended up doing?
For sure. For the old company, I started as his executive assistant, and he's an older gentleman, and it's really quite. I look back now. He's still a really good friend. I talk to him all the time still. But I had the ability to just go and sit with him one on one. And when I tell you he's a brilliant, genius, smart man, he is he put himself through college. His father lost when he was very young. His mother raised the three boys, so it wasn't like he came from this background. He went to college. He got his degree in economics. I failed when I was in college, and he's fascinating because he's the white man, and I actually have a Jewish background, and he found that pretty fascinating because I'm half. So he and I have stations, and I got to observe he had several different businesses because he trusted me as an assistant, and I was private, discreet. He confided in me in a lot of different, allowed me to learn. And so not only did I have him as a mentor, my other boss, Andy, she's also a dear friend, really sweet lady, very smart. She's like, I mean, I got I could ever imagine in the world of business. And so so they gave a lot of opportunity and a lot of freedom and flexibility. I really had to pick what it was that I wanted to do within that work environment. And so what was really big to me is like employee events, employee recognition. I would conduct, we had, I believe it was sites around the world. And so we would do community events, book drives, toy drives, those sorts of things in the community. Also, within side of the call center, recognizing employees, making it fun. Call center work is challenging. I don't do it myself, right? It's really hard being on the phone, trying to talk to a person and convince them or, encourage them or whatever it is you're doing. Yeah. And so my job to make it as possible and fun, and, you work, you want to be a part of the community inside of the office, and so the community outside. So I had, like I said, some of the best teachers, and they really allowed me to be as creative. I think my budget initially, it was peanuts because there was only a few hundred or, maybe a couple thousand. No, I guess it was a few hundred when they first the budget. We had 100 employees, so I had a pretty small. When I left there, I had a budget of around $500,000 because they trusted what I was doing and how it was being dispersed throughout the company, and the morale that it had built. So, I had really just a wonderful team of managers, bosses during that time.
That's amazing. Not everybody can say the same thing, of course, right? Like there's a lot of people who don't really appreciate or don't feel appreciated. That's probably the better description, by the people that they work for and or with. And so I love that. I love that they were able to create space for you, kind of show you the way, and then it allowed you to kind of grow in this space where it seemed like community was really important. Community, culture building, all of that seemed really important. And it is, because I think most people would identify that like culture in the workspace is like the number one thing. It's the reason why somebody stays or not. So I love that ended up being a place that you found to be exciting, that like that intrigued you enough that you got fulfillment out of seeing, creating something and it's working, right? And trying to make it an environment pleasurable enough to work with. Because you're right, that is very stressful what these individuals are doing at the call center. And I wonder, as you were describing that, I was like, that's so interesting. I wonder how that lines up with some of the things that you're doing, because I think too, even especially with travel, I think the idea of like creating culture, creating community around that is really important. You're going to create a community of people who are like-minded with you in terms of real estate, for sure. And then even with what you've been able to do creatively with TV, you have your audience is your culture, right? Like your vibe attracts your tribe, as they say. So I
Yeah,
feel like that
definitely.
ended up kind of like being a part of all the different areas that you're in. Would you say that that's correct, or do you feel like it's different?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like that carries over and spills over into a lot of what I do. I myself, I've always been very in the community. I saw what the community did for me growing up, and I've continued to be blessed and continue to grow and be put in these different spaces. And it's my duty, my honor, my pleasure to give back. So
Mm,
you know, um, for kids in distress, I'm on the Elevate Committee. That's one of the biggest fundraisers that they have
mm,
throughout the year, and that's in South Florida. And the organization is just wonderful. What they do for children in all of the tri counties, so throughout all South Florida, they provide mental, physical, educational, whatever types of support is needed. And I think that's crucial that we start with our children, right?
mm,
But they actually help the whole family. So it's whatever, they meet the family wherever they're at. And so because I am such a firm believer in community and helping each other, that's where I spend a lot of my time. But I feel like that's always been a part of me. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and that sorority is based on service, right?
mm.
So that's always been a part of me, and I feel like very important that we reach out to, help each other where we can. And so, be it in a business that I'm working for or my own business, it's really important.
I love that. So, so I'm very curious in two different directions. So I'm going to ask one question, and then probably my follow-up question will be like completely unrelated to the other way in which I was thinking. Number one is that I wanted to shout out to Rebecca and saying that, yeah, a lot of people feel underestimated, undervalued, and underappreciated. I know it is sad, right? And so I completely agree with you, Rebecca, that what Tamara experience obviously is something different and really appreciated. And so that brings me to, okay, so based on that, right, you were kind of mentored in a supportive environment that allowed you to then branch off and pursue your own things. And I'm curious to know, like, as we enter into the entrepreneurial world, a lot of people don't even go that way because it seems very risky, right? And
Oh yeah.
I'm very curious to know, like, I think when you come from a supportive place, then it's easier to make the big decisions and to take risks. So I'm curious to know what sort of big decisions or risks do you feel like you had to take once you did start to enter into the entrepreneurial space?
So I'd say two different times of just partner with people. I took major risks. The first time that was it was thankfully financially didn't cost me as much as the second one, but the first one, it did cause me to have to shut down my business.
Mm,
I had to close business because of the people that I partnered with. Um, they sent out what do you call it? Investor requesting investor money for
mm,
like $100,000, and I wasn't
mm.
aware, and it was sent out with my company name. And
Oh,
in the state of Florida, you look up my company name, it's registered to me. So if you're sending out a request for $100,000, and I don't know how many of those went out, I don't know if monies were ever received, but because I wasn't aware of it, I didn't want that kind of thing happening escalate into something worse, having to shut that business down. So it was a risk, and it was a big risk. I was be able to partner with
Mm,
someone thinking I could grow the business at
mm,
a different level. And so, yeah, that didn't go well. But you do have to take some risk. It's a risk just being in business by myself. You
mhm,
know, that's
mhm.
it's a challenge. Um, Thankfully, it's continued to go well, and but scary sometimes. It's also very rewarding as well.
Yeah, I mean, without any risk, there's no reward. That's as cliche as that may sound.
Yeah,
It's also true.
yeah.
I can totally relate to that. Okay, really quickly, before I get to my next question, and please, if anyone has any other questions, please put them in the comments because Rebecca did have a question for you. She was curious, what specific strategies did you use to improve employee morale?
Oh, that's great. So, I think what did it the most was like uh, giveaways,
Mm,
raffles, prizes. When people do things, have some sort of reward in place. It's challenging to people to one show up. Hey, and we're human beings. Sometimes,
mm,
life is lifing, and then you got to go and show up with a smile and hi, how can I help you? And you're like, you don't even want to be on. So understanding that human side, yeah,
mhm.
understanding that human side of us, and just really trying to look at, if this is me, if I'm a space, what would make me better? Um, Acts of kindness.
Mm.
That's yeah, some reward of something, be it money, food, gift card, it is we can think of, but sprinkle around that kind of goodness and happiness in it. It really trickles into the whole emphasis. Even if I, for example, didn't win a raffle that day, but my team members won movie passes and a dinner or whatever it is we're doing, it feels good to see your team being recognized, and who knows, tomorrow that might be me that wins it. So it really plays a big difference in the psyche.
I love that.
Yeah,
As is Rebecca.
thank you. Thank you,
That was a wonderful question, which actually Rebecca had a follow-up question, which I love, which is what mindset shifts did you have to make when transitioning from employee to business owner?
Yeah, that is a good question.
Mm,
Being an employee, I think there's a certain level of comfort in knowing that check's still going to come in every 2 weeks, right?
mm, mm, mm,
You're still able to do whatever you need to do based on that level of comfort. Being an entrepreneur, it can be uh, the most thrilling and the most terrifying thing at the
mhm,
same time. I'll give you an example. During COVID, March 20 was going to be one of the highest grossing months I had made as an entrepreneur in business so far. And so I had just gotten a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo on the water and on the
mm,
beach. Beautiful. Had gotten it set up. We were booked. I think at that location alone, I was set to around $15,000 in that
mm,
month. And at that time, that was a big deal.
mhm,
It's still a big deal, actually.
mhm. I was thinking, I
So,
was like, uh-huh.
yeah, no, right now, that would be great. So, what happened was that was, say, the second, that was mid-February, right? That I had realized what March was getting ready to do. I'm ready to rock and roll. That very next week, the week of, uh, everything got shut down.
Mm,
And as soon as I saw that money come, it went away. And I was like, what just happened there? So it can, that's what I mean. It could be that brilliant, that terrifying, like that. And so that was an eye opener to me to just be prepared for that kind of stuff. That's my first, I had just started business in 2018, 29, getting like life was good. It was really smooth. I love the hospitality business. So it was all working out very smooth. And most entrepreneurs don't start out that smooth. So it came a little bit later.
So what shifted in your mind then, that as you were recognizing like, oh, like this is not going to be this like consistent money coming in? Was there a different way in which you had to think in order to kind of move differently?
Yes. Yeah. So that's when I needed to get my real estate license. So during that same time, I took my real estate course the very last week, February. I shut down. I thought it was going to smoothly. I'll go ahead and get my license, start selling these properties. It's going to continue on great. I couldn't actually take my test until August of 2020. So from February, where I took the class, passed the class, and then after that, everything shut down. Things didn't open back up until August for real estate. And really, I several different sources of income. So I initially had just the vacation rental company, which was doing well, but you know how easy that could be taken away. Yeah.
I definitely think, as someone who's also had to make the shift, it is definitely something that you just have to think about. Like, you just have to think in the future more about money than we did when we were in our professions. You didn't have to think as much about it, and so you just didn't. And now I think there's this like, and you learn sometimes like through failure or like through something like this happening, right? Something you can't control occurring, and then you're like, oof, oh yeah, I gotta make sure that I think of things like that in the future. So that way you can just, I wouldn't even say like, because you can't prepare for everything, but just so like you have something that you can point to or direction to work towards. So that way, if something unexpected, you can plan that that something unexpected will happen. And so at least you can be like, all right, whatever that unexpected thing is, then at least I can plan for that, like as you move. And so I do think that that's a switch, because it's not, you just like, I don't want to say it's not necessarily lazy. It's just like you're just used to one particular comfort zone. That's kind of like your jam. And now you realize, I gotta like push myself a little bit differently, to think differently, to make sure that I'm just a little bit more prepared for that type of a thing. So I love that you mentioned that. That's because I was gonna ask, like, has there any been like a particular hardship that had a major influence? And this obviously was one of them. I'm curious. As we wrap it up, and so if you guys have any more last minute questions, please put them in the comments. But we talked about this earlier. I'm always curious to ask people about kind of like their origin, thinking about their origins. If there was something that you could tell yourself 20 years ago that you know now that you wish you would have known then, or would have been helpful anyway back then, what's that one thing that you feel like would have been really helpful to know?
Trust yourself, trust your gut instinct. And I am a firm believer in God. I have all the faith that God wants me to have. And so I have the faith in God, but I didn't have the faith in myself. And so 20 years ago, had I trusted in myself, you can do this. And I feel like I've tried to talk myself out of things, not relying on knowing that I can't, and get the credit for that. So I would definitely tell younger Tamara, you can do it, and you got it. You got to trust in yourself and firmly believe that God has you through the process.
I love that. I have a mentor as well, and that is something that we are always talking about. It's this idea of trusting yourself and trusting God, having faith. I literally put like I write the word trust on my wrist whenever I have like a major event coming up to just like remind myself, you just got to trust. You did everything that you could. You just got to trust after that. So I love that. And I love that that's what you would have told yourself 20 years ago too. Like that's so super important. This is so good. This is so good. So there have been some other comments. Be ready to pivot. Oh, that is so true. Yes, that's exactly right. And this is the final question. Final question. Okay. What advice would you give about choosing business partners? Great question.
That is a good question. And unfortunately, after 2 big business partner experiences, I have to at this point say, don't trust in business partners. I know that's there's some people that work good together, and as well. I don't think my mindset. I'm very Libra. My scales can't get off balance. I feel like it's in some things you can have teams, right? It makes sense to have teams. I don't know that it makes sense to have business partners, especially this level of where I'm at. I had 2 scenarios that could have possibly hindered my business process. And so now I'm in a space that I just wouldn't allow anyone to be able to do that again.
You heard it here first. There's partnership and then there are teams.
That's right. Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, look, this has been amazing. I would love for you to come back at some point. Like we could do like a couple months later, like, look what's happened, an update.
Definitely.
And definitely there are more questions I'm sure people have to ask you. And so I'm sure that hearing your answers would be truly valuable. But hey guys, look, I want to make sure that you guys know where to find Tamara. She is on Instagram. She has 2 Instagram handles. So I wanted to make sure you guys had both of them. She's also on Facebook. You can find her websites, signatureseriestv.com, as well as rentalsinparadise.com. She is a real person. If you reach out to her, she will respond. So please do. Honestly, this has been truly, truly a pleasure and amazing time to have with you. I learned so much personally, and I know that you shared a lot of valuable lessons and wisdom and insight with others. And so this is just another example of how your experiences, your journey, your story can help other people. And so I just also want to just do a quick plug to say that I am hosting my masterclass coming up. It's August 11th and 12th. It's the Earn 6 Figures by Writing, Publishing, and Marketing Your Book. So if you yourself have been out there thinking that you have a story to tell, putting it in book form is a great way to do it to reach other people. And so please come out to the masterclass. I'd be more than happy to help you write, publish, and then market that. So thank you again, Tamara, for being here with us. If you got a lot of value from today, please go ahead and put a V in the comments, shout it out so we all know that you found it valuable. Again, we're going to be looking at all the comments later. So even if you're watching the replay, please put a V in the comments so we know. But until then, I will see you next week, same channel. Different guests, but another story to help share and inspire others. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Take care.
Thank you for having me. Take care. Talk soon.